Happy Wednesday. I hope everyone's doing well today. So obviously we are going to continue talking about scatter plots. Yesterday we worked on identifying and creating the equation for the line of best fit. And today we are going to talk about what many people had questions on some of the Khan Academy work that was assigned. It's just interpreting the graphs. So we're going to talk about what it means, what we can know, or what information is given to us from those graphs, and so on from there. So again, today you're going to be able to interpret information from scatter plots. So we're going to, again, interpret what we can from scatter plots, and sometimes it's nothing. If it's if there's no correlation, we're not going to be able to identify anything really or interpret any information from the scatter plots. So if we look at example one, a lot of this you're going to do on your own, and then we'll discuss what things you've said. So first thing is, if we look at this, what two things are being compared on the graph? And if I think about that, I always want to look at my axes. Those will tell us what two things are going to be compared, and that will help us out for that. So if you fill in number one, again, you can just click right on it and you can write it in. The two things that are clearly being compared here are hours spent on homework and hours spent on video games. And again, if we compare those two or think about those two, this is a decreasing graph. It's a negative correlation. Our slope is negative. And if we think about that, the more time that we spend on video games, typically the less time you're able to spend on homework. Again, there's only 24 hours in a day. So if somehow you spend 23 hours on homework, you have no time for video games really, because you got to do a little bit of sleeping and eating, and so on. If you spend half your day on video games, you're probably not spending that much time on homework. So again, those are the two things you're putting there. So then number two says, is there a correlation? Kind of skipped ahead and answered that one. And if so, what type? Does it look like there's a correlation there? Can we fit a trend line in, or is there already a trend line there? Yeah, so there is clearly a correlation. And again, I just kind of explained it. This is decreasing. So there is a negative correlation here. It is going downwards again from left to right. Then it says again, what conclusion can we make? So if it's a negative correlation, I also just kind of explained this. The conclusion that we can make is the more time that is spent on video games, the less time you'll spend on your homework. So again, if we look at this 0 to 2 hours spent on video games, it looks like there's clearly more time spent on homework. And the more time you spend on video games, clearly, there is less time spent on homework. So this is what you're going to do today. I am going to give you most of the period to work through these on your own in your breakout rooms, and I'll be around just to touch base, see if you have any questions or concerns. So if we look at the next one, again, this is one you'll do on your own or in your groups. What two things are being compared here? You're going to then tell me, is there a correlation? And if there is, what type of correlation would it be? And then what does that correlation tell you? Does it tell you, can you interpret that, or can you take anything away from a correlation? If it's a positive or negative correlation, does that say anything about that data? So go ahead and get started on those ones. And again, you're going to work through most of today on your own. You'll finish these slides, and then today and tomorrow you'll have a chance to finish all the assignments on Khan Academy. So go ahead and get started. I'll put you in your breakout rooms. And again, you're going to fill in the 3 questions for each of these slides.